Hi, everyone. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Happy homecoming week. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Spirit of Athens panel with some of our local alumni-owned businesses. If you're not familiar with Zoom, I'd recommend putting your settings into speaker view. So what you're actually going to do is go up into the right-hand corner and click gallery view. So you'll actually see the gallery. So now you should see a bunch of squares so you can see all of our panelists all at the same time. If you have any questions or comments throughout the panel, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And there is a chat button. You'll see it down in the center of the screen at the very bottom there. So go ahead and drop any of your questions or thoughts throughout the whole panel. We'd love to hear from you. We'll also have a Q&A portion of our event, which will be able to address any of those questions that you might have for our panelists. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and get started. We got a really busy schedule for us today. I'd like to introduce our moderator, Paul Benedict. Paul is an HTC 1996 grad. He graduated with political science degree. He's now the Associate Professor of Instruction and the Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship. After 15 years as an investor in and operator of seed and early stage technology companies, Paul joined Ohio University to teach. In his spare time, Paul is actually working with the team in the Rusk College of Engineering to start an autonomous vehicle company, which sounds amazing and very cool. He's also president of the Athens County Humane Society and in the process of opening a new low-cost veterinary clinic to serve Athens residents. So Paul, let you kind of take it away.
Thank you so much, Dory. For those of you who don't know, the Center for Entrepreneurship operates as a partnership between the College of Business and the Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Affairs, and it exists to serve the entire Ohio University community. Anyone who is interested in innovating and solving problems creatively, please come see us. We host a wide variety of events and programs encouraging entrepreneurial development on campus and beyond. Thank you very much to the Alumni Association for this opportunity and your partnership in this event. Now I would like to introduce our panelists. So we'll start with Mary Cheadle of 10 West Clothing and Uptown Dog T-shirts. Mary is a lifelong resident of Athens and a 1989 graduate of Ohio University with her BFA in art education. Mary worked for and eventually became the proud owner of Uptown Dog T-shirts. The shop moved in 2015 after having suffered an almost total loss from the Union Street fire that many of you out there probably remember. The old location was rebuilt in 2016 and she opened 10 West Clothing. In 2018, the two businesses were combined and will celebrate 33 years of operation in February of 2021. Congratulations, Mary, and thank you for joining us tonight. Next is Jessica Kopowitz of Fluff Bakery. She graduated from Ohio University with a degree in finance and business economics. She studied for her MBA at Case Western and eventually worked for multiple small restaurants and bakery business owners. Upon moving back to Athens through collaboration with community farms and businesses, Fluff Bakery was born in 2010, and I might add, has the most dangerous Instagram feed in Athens. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us. I really wanted to get up there and get a cheese biscuit with bacon and egg and a booty shaker tonight for this, and such a missed opportunity. Next is Art Oestrike of Jackie O's. Art was born in Cleveland, is the son of an entrepreneur. Art graduated from Ohio University with degrees in Russian and education. Upon graduation, Art moved to South Korea to teach English for 3 years. Before moving back from South Korea in 2004, Art and his best friend Lenny purchased the Bagel Street Deli. A year later, he purchased O'Hooley's. He later changed the name to Jackie O's after his mom. Art received his master's degree in linguistics in 2007 and has been teaching at Ohio University ever since. And I would add that the special release of Who Chooses for Me last week is awesome. If you're out there and have a chance to enjoy it, I highly recommend it. Art, thanks so much for joining us. Last but not least, Aaron Thomas, also known as DJ A-Rock. is the owner of A-Rock Entertainment and Class A Sounds. Aaron graduated from Ohio University and continues to work with the university on events, including opening for Wiz Khalifa, Shaggy, B.O.B., Aaron Carter, and the Yin Yang Twins. He has done over 200 weddings and is a professional DJ on the Carnival Cruise Line. Aaron, thank you for joining us slightly off camera. Is a TV bought and mounted from Class A Sounds. My setup here is tremendous. Thank you, Aaron. As Dory mentioned, if you have questions throughout the panel, please place them in the chat. And as we have time towards the end, we'll get to those. But I want to start with some questions for the panel. So let's start with Mary on this first one, and then we'll go around the horn. Mary, where did you learn about being an entrepreneur, or where did you get your entrepreneurial spirit from?
Well, initially, I think it came from my family. My dad worked for the university and had 8 children. So our family of 10 needed something more than just his paycheck to get by. So since we're all artisans, crafters, we often found the need and the thrill of selling, our pieces here and there, craft shows, that type of thing. Also, having bought the business from my brother, who already had it established, he taught me the ropes somewhat as well. But again, he was the artist, and we come from that creative side and not necessarily the business side. So all of that has been from the school of hard knocks, I tell you. I've learned over the years through trial and error, and it is the one thing I continue to work on. I'm still learning.
Yeah, I suspect that's true for all of us. Jessica, same question to you.
I think part of my entrepreneurial spirit comes from the fact that I have a hard time working for anybody. Don't tell my current boss, who's known me for years. I think it's part of that rebel spirit that I've always had, and always thinking that I might have a way to do it in a different, unique way, or to offer something special. That sounds a little arrogant, and I've learned I've been knocked down many times. I've failed many times. So I think that's part of it. Also just always curious and wanting to learn. And I think that's where some of it comes from. And also spending a lot of time with other people who are creative and really like to hustle and just learn and have fun. So I think it's a mix of things.
That's awesome. Yeah, again, I think that's another thing that a lot of us have in common. Art, same question to you. Where'd your entrepreneurial spirit come from?
Yeah, definitely my father. Watching those hours and watching what he did as a construction-oriented entrepreneur in the Cleveland area growing up, saw all of that. I started reffing soccer games when I was 12 years old, which I set my own schedule for and collected money in my closet, unbeknownst to most people, starting at the tender age of 12. And when it was time to go buy a car, I had the cash for it. Dad's like, where'd that money come from? You kept from the soccer games, Dad. What do you mean where that cash came from? But really, same thing, Jess. Like, I like working for myself. Obviously, I have a couple other jobs that I've been doing for years, but my real job is this entrepreneurial game that I've been playing for so long now. And I guess I've always liked hosting and throwing parties. So I thank my father again for providing my first venue and doing lots of secret parties while in high school at his house, our house, my parents' house. And so that really taught me that skill. And it lends itself very well to bar ownership. And then, loving, looked at a couple different ideas back in 2004, 2005, and so happy that a brewery happened to come alongside that first bar purchase. Trial and error from then lands us here 15 years later, almost in December, 15 years. That a lot of luck and a lot of perseverance, a lot of learning new things and trying new things. Here we are.
Yep. That's awesome. Aaron, how about you?
There we go. Take myself off mute. See, I probably started my first job at the local corner store and when I was in the 7th grade. And then I went to summer job, Cleveland Public Schools and East Cleveland Public Schools, where I lived at, offered summer jobs. So I was probably working, I probably worked every summer from 7th grade all the way up to I graduated. But just working for myself, you know, I just kind of picked up a lot of entrepreneurship, started DJing in high school, and then I expanded that to college. Basically, when I came to college, I had like maybe a tub full of clothes, but then I had a car full of DJing equipment. So, and first week, lucky enough, a young lady I was in a summer program with by the name of Upward Bound, her sister was already here in the sorority. And she got me my first party, my very first weekend at Ohio University. So that was fall of 1997. And over the years, you know, I just taught myself. I learned a lot in college from TCOM. Commercial writing was my whole. I never took any business classes. All my stuff was all TCOM. But yeah, everything I've basically applied now was something I is basically self-taught. Reading and just trying to follow up with different people over the years, you know. But over the past 10 years, I have reached out to so many different people just trying to expand my knowledge. But the startup of Class A Sounds was me with hope and prayer and making it work. This is before the internet had all the stuff. You can just go find all these answers. It was call, see if you can find somebody and write a letter. Yep, I was writing letters. So.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. So next question. So we'll start with Jessica on this one. So what's the hardest part about being a business owner? And if you could have known, what would you have liked to known then, what you know now?
Okay, so the hardest part of being a business owner is the fact that there's no manual. There's no, here's the way you do something. There's no, I guess there is Google now, which is really helpful, but there's no laid out way to get somewhere based on what you want to do. You can make a plan, you can have goals, and you can lay those out and do your best to think about all the scenarios and plan for those. But then you have a pandemic hit. Are you your top person, or are you, you know, you have an unexpected life event that happens and then you have to figure it out. So, and there's no one holding your hand during that process. It's all think on your feet, do your best to plan. And it's just, you know, just trying to find your way through and being okay with the unknown, being okay that you don't know all the answers and not knowing what the future holds, but still being willing to figure that out and to plan ahead for it. So I think that's probably the hardest part. And then everyone looks to you for the answers. So if you employ people, it's like they're going to look to you to have direction and to answer their questions. And no one can give you that information. You have to, especially as a startup, you have to figure it out yourself. So that's probably the hardest thing. And what was the next question? Sorry, Paul.
So what's the thing that you wished you would have known when you got started?
That everything takes longer than you expect it to.
Yeah.
To be patient and to know that, well, thinking back, so when I was in school at OU, we were on quarters. I mean, that was until fairly recently, but you know, you always had that, like that next goal. You had, you kind of get that sense of satisfaction from finishing the quarter, and then you get to be older and nothing happens that fast. Nothing, just, you know, especially with your business, it's like just being patient and knowing that sometimes it just takes not a year or not, you know, 6 weeks or a year. It takes 2 years or 5 years to get to a point where you feel like you're really accomplishing something, or some changes that you've made have taken effect. So just knowing that things don't happen instantaneously and being okay with that, but knowing that it will come if you put the work in and if you are willing to sometimes accept failure and move past that and learn from it. That's, I think, has been some of the things that I wish I would have known, as far as just, be patient. Life sometimes takes longer than you want it to. So
yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, because and back to the answers to the first question, the hustle and not wanting to work for anybody else, that personality trait is really good, and also makes it harder to be patient and like let's go, like, let's make stuff happen now. So that it's, yeah, I mean, that is absolutely true. Art, same question to you.
Jess, I love two things that you just said in there. One, quarters. Gosh, I missed. Man, wouldn't it be great, you guys? I'm just going to throw out my selfish pitch here. Why don't we just start spring semester March 15th, plus or minus 3 days, and run it deep into June in 2020 and have a throwback semester, man. Anyways, another thing I really enjoyed is that 5-year comment. It takes 5 years to get there sometimes. And the biggest problem is that throughout at year 2.5, your idea has completely changed anyways. It's the same goal, but it's very different in what it became over that time. So, pretty awesome there. I'd say I always say this, my favorite, the most difficult and the best thing about running a business are the people working for you. Okay, and leading them and the trials and tribulations and successes and joys that you have in that process. It is the best and the worst of things. And I can't say that enough. And if I could go back in time, Aaron, I agree, I would have maybe taken a few business courses. And in doing so, I probably would have taken a lot of management courses, because I like to do things myself as well. And it's very difficult when that they don't happen fast enough. And, I'm not looking at the details. I can't stand the details. I'm just expecting somebody to pick them up in my wake somewhere, which isn't fair for those people in the wake, but it's also not fair to be extremely ambiguous and strange and aloof about this grand plan that I have that, nobody can necessarily see today, but that's where we're going in 5 years. Yeah.
That's awesome, Art. Thank you. Aaron?
Yeah, the hardest part, like Art, said, it's the leadership part. Thankfully, somehow, some way, I got put in a bunch of sociology classes in college. Like I probably took 5 social classes my senior year, and I think that paid off tremendously because it helped me adapt to people. I'm a straightforward person, and I had to scale that back, especially with employees and all the laws to come with being a boss. I have these expectations of people, and sometimes they're way too high. So I had to bring it back. Then I had to, figure out how to become, a leader and a coach and be able to step back and let this person fail. And that was probably one of the hardest things I had to deal with, because I'm always solo. Just DJing is just you and a party. With the store, it was me and 5 to 6 employees at a time, ranging from different ages. I opened my store up, I was 23. So having somebody 10 years older than me working for me, that was hard too, because they had to get over the fact that I was younger than them running this business, and that was an ordeal I had when I first opened up, being so young, getting the store off the ground. But over the years, I'm the oldest guy in the store at this point, but it's still one of those things. It's the leadership, and just like, Jess and Art said, you got this vision that no one sees. And, I tell folks, don't be afraid to change that vision if it's not going in the right direction. You don't have to stay on that. This is what I'm going to do. If it's not working, get out of it, revamp it, and make it work before you're out of work. That's what I tell folks. I say, stuff may change. We're going to try it, but if it don't, it don't, So I tell folks that's the biggest thing is, don't accept failure, but, figure a way to change the plan before you fail. So.
Thanks, Aaron. Mary, the hardest part and the thing you wish you would have known?
We got to teach Mary Zoom. Hit the mute button, Mary. Hit the mute button. Unmute. She done broke Zoom.
Muted. We can't.
Manually.
we gotta teach me. You know, I've been dealing with Mary since '98. Like Mary made my first shirt in 1998.
That's so awesome.
I left class and went right to Uptown Dog. It was a TCOM class for marketing. Mary, you get that mute button? I'm at to go show her how to use Zoom now. She's on the list.
Mary, it's
Dory hit the unmute for Mary.
Mary, if you hover over your image and you go down to the bottom right or left corner, you'll see the mute button. I'm trying to unmute you, but it won't let me.
Where's Mary been at the past 6 months?
Mary,
working, Aaron. She's been working.
She's been working. I know. I've been up there seeing her.
Mary's doing it better than the rest.
Uh-oh. We lost her.
We'll get Mary back.
With you guys.
We'll get Mary back. Oh, there
Man,
she is.
Mary's the best.
Hey, am I there?
Yes.
Yes.
Mary, next week, tutorial for Zoom.
With technology. Can you
I'm
hear
up there
me
next
or
week.
see me? Can you hear me or see me?
Yes, both.
Huh?
We got you.
Okay.
We can see you and hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so honestly, for real, for me, it's keeping up with the technology of today. You know, I'm a different generation and I find this harder and harder to do, to relate to my customers through social media and this technology, as well as just keeping up with it. You know, when I was in high school, computers had just come out, and then in college, there were no courses for that. So I've learned as I've gone. But besides that, I would say that, and you hear this all the time, it's that really you can never leave work. When you're a business owner, you take it home with you. And that can be the daily ins and outs, or also just referring to the overall weight of the responsibility of employing others. And you know, that's not an easy thing. I would add to that the roadblocks that come up. And for me, the big ones were the fire of 2014. You know, I don't think we recouped from that. And before you knew it, we're in this pandemic. And
Right.
how could any of us have prepared for that? And you know, going forward, that's all still a mystery, I would imagine, to all of us. So, you know, lots and lots of things, including reiterating what everyone else said.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thanks, Mary. So the next question, and Art, you already answered this one in a sense. So, but I wanted to start with you. So the most rewarding part of being a business owner, and related to that, any experiences or education that along the way that you thought helped you reach your goals?
Yeah, you know, the people. Again, like that was my answer before. The best and the most difficult thing are the people. You know, but like watching your ideas, your concepts and things come to fruition over 3, 4, 5, 10 years is pretty amazing. And like seeing that happen and seeing it grow is awesome. I think that we'd all be remiss if we didn't say that all of our experiences leading up to being a business owner impact how we run our business. You know, I think that I pride myself on being an internationally minded person. Mom was born in England, and I think that it's really important to be able to step into someone else's shoes and be empathetic to their situation. And having lived overseas, you know, you get yourself in these very interesting predicaments on the regular. And I think I thrive in those moments. I like the awkward. I hate the office. I love awkwardness in myself and how it I don't know, how I manifest through that. So I think that those skills really come into play because you got to think on your feet and react and live with your reactions. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Art. Aaron, most rewarding?
The most rewarding, I tell you one, the most rewarding thing I have probably, make sure, too much technology going on, but one of the most rewarding things probably been the intern programs I had. You know, it's been nice to work with high school kids, you know, college students, just to show them the part of the business. You know, even to this day, you know, even when I hire somebody, I say, you know, I know you may not be here a year, you may not be here 5 years, you may not be here 6 months, but while you're here, at least try to learn something from the business, from me. I'm an open book, and I try to teach a lot of my employees entrepreneurship. I tell them I run a business like a co-op, and I got everything streamlined, and I'm pretty open book about how we do stuff. I say, we need to do X amount of installs to make this for you can get paid. I just be straight up, let them know. I say, this is how things have to work. I got no reason to hide stuff from them because I want them to learn something that, I didn't really have the benefit to learn at their age. I had to kind of seek it out once I got to college. But yeah, that's been one of, best things ever. Now it could be the worst thing too, because, with the internship programs, you get kids who's just not interested in it. They come, they do their 3 hours and they go home, and it's sad because I know it's somebody else who would love to be in a position with that internship, picking up that, I call it free knowledge, so, it's a double-edged sword, but for the most part, I'm always, excited when I get new interns or new young employees, because it gives me the reason to pass the knowledge on to them.
Sure. Mary, same question to you, most rewarding?
Right. The most rewarding is the pride that I have in all this kind of coming together. I'm an Athens resident, born and raised, an OU grad, and a business owner, and that's a culmination that's pretty special to have in your hometown. And as far as education goes, my degree being in art education, I don't have any business background, but with that came the creativeness that, I applied to my work here. And I suppose the teaching might have helped with maybe my communication skills, but other than that, I have no business background. And again, it's all been a learning experience and still is.
That's great, Mary. Thank you. And Jessica, most rewarding?
One of the great things about owning a business uptown and having so many people coming into contact with so many people and working with so many people is having employees who you get to see do great things. So, they may work for you for a short amount of time and, we're a launching board for other things they want to do. I've always felt like, even though we have a restaurant, part of the skills that we hope to give people who work with us is life skills. So it's like, how do you handle conflict? How do you handle being in a situation that's uncomfortable? How do you handle selling yourself and, being your own advocate and then seeing them go out and do great things and kind of, we have like a bunch of kids that have gone off to do more and help other people. And that's one part of it. The other part of it too is being able to getting to a point where you actually can partner and give back to organizations that you believe in. And that's been really rewarding, or participating in organizations that have an effect on our region. So we work with Passion Works on a regular basis, and I feel very strongly about what they do and what they stand for. So, being able to work with them and kind of push their agenda has been phenomenal. Just being able to be a part of some of the organizations here has been amazing. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, what Passion Works is one of those quintessential Athens things that makes this place really special. And for all the alums out there, if you don't have a passion flower in your house, getting one will make it cheerier and happier and brighter. So skipping ahead, I'm looking at the clock and I want to make sure that we leave time for audience questions. So I want to one more question from me for the panel, which is what have been one of your favorite Athens moments? And this could be when you were a student, or as an alum, or as a business owner. And Aaron, we'll start with you on this one.
Oh man, so this may sound really cheesy, but right now, I'm sitting here on this panel, and this might be in my top of my favorite Athens moments, because I'm sitting here and I'm looking. I met Mary back in '98. They printed my very first T-shirts. I went one place. They blew me off. I went to Uptown Dog. They called me 2 days later and said, hey, we got this DJ shirt. They made me 12 shirts. It's probably like, this guy's nuts. I was like a freshman in college. I left my TCOM class, went right uptown trying to get some shirts made, and met Mary back in '98. I met Jess back in probably the fall of 2009, 2010, when they first came to town looking for audio for their bakery. My uncle said, this lady and her husband came in trying to open up a bakery. They need some sound. Like, a bakery? Like, oh, snap. What's their number? Called them up, got them set up, went up there. And I met Art sitting on a board. We was at a panel, something like this. I'm like, man, this guy got more jobs than me. You know, he you know, it's like, but, you know, just, it's so many different memories. But anytime I do events like this, that always add like one of those memories, because everybody's so intertwined in this small town called the Bubble. You know, is no matter what has went on in the past 20 years, I mean, Athens has survived. And I look back, you know, I've been in Athens for 23 years now. So yeah, but this right here, I mean, it's great. Just, it's like full circle right now. You know, it's homecoming.
That's awesome, Aaron. Thank you. Mary, same question to you.
I have to agree with Aaron. It's been a great combination of meeting people, whether that be, you know, customers who become friends like Aaron has over the years, or employees who become lifelong friends, you know, and you go to their weddings and celebrate their new babies and that type of thing. But specifically about business, I think I always enjoy participating in the homecoming parade, and we'll miss that this year, obviously, but that's a neat culmination of everything. Again, as an Athens resident, OU alumni, you know, my love of Athens, I really feel proud being a part of that. In addition to that, when I opened 10 West, that cutting of the ribbon that day and being recognized by the city and by the mayor was pretty special moment for me. So
That's awesome. Thank you. Jessica, how about you?
I don't know if I have one memory in particular. I thought a lot about this, but one of the things that I love is just, and I've been kind of missing, is the ebb and flow of the energy here in Athens. And I never get over the fact that, you know, whether it's spring, students leaving for the spring, for the summer, and some staying, but also in the fall when everyone comes back, and it just, campus comes alive. And I live on the very near west side, so I'm like in the midst of it. And I live very close to one of the places that I used to live when I was in college. So just like seeing every year, you know, these houses change over, and just having new neighbors and just feeling that energy. It's just an amazing piece of what we have here. And I know just one reason where, you know, why I love living here too is that energy and the young people who can kind of, you know, keep us older people, you know, keep us interested and just like on our toes. Because now,
Totally agree.
you know, and now it's like I am the age of moms who come here for Mom's Weekend. You know, so, and all my friends, all my dudes who come back are dads. So it's like, it's just to see that transition and to be, you know, a adult, responsible, partially responsible human
Yeah,
being
right.
is interesting.
Where did the time go? What happened?
We don't.
What happened?
I wasn't looking at the time.
What happened? Yeah, Art, how about you? Favorite?
Yeah,
Athens?
Jess, I could like say all those exact same things in my own personal way and feel very happy with my answer. You know, that ebb and flow, and it's sad that it hasn't happened this year, and it's very different. And, you know, that you're excited for them to go, but man, I was not excited when that announcement came on March 15th this year. And I'm excited about thinking about when they're going to come back. And, you know, like the moment at homecoming when all of a sudden the bar is slamming busy and the marching band comes walking right in the front door. It's like unbelievable. Like, what an amazing feeling. Or I'm sitting at the Bobcat game last year, the last 2 years, we're actually serving beer at homecoming at the thing. And I'm like, you know what, the band, they just don't, I love them so much. And I always go, they let me store some stuff in their room in Peden Stadium so I don't have to carry it back and forth to every game. And I'm like, all right, where's the party this year? And they tell me, and I personally buy them a keg of Ricky and drop it on their front porch. You know, underage consumption be damned. But, you know, just those things. And I get a text back because my note says, please bring my stuff back to this address. And enjoy, be responsible, don't drive. And I get texts back from these wonderful people, Athens moments.
Yeah, that's awesome, Art. Thank you. So that seems like a perfect time to turn to our audience questions. I'm scrolling back through here. There was I got to find it again. There was a question. Where did it go? There was a question from, I thought there was a question from Beth. Where did it go? I had it and then it went.
About the pivot,
yeah,
in COVID.
Well, so there was a, maybe I'll find that one too. So as an alum president for our chapter, how can we help support local businesses knowing that we might not get to Athens for a while?
Gift cards. Gift cards has been, I've been doing a lot of virtual events for Ohio University. Tonight, shameless plug, tune in, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month at 8:00 on Twitch. But, what I've been doing is, what I have set up is that we've been doing giveaways, and I just been spending all the money uptown for the giveaways, just buying stuff, t-shirts, the most popular thing has been a license plate frame. People love the license plate frames, but gift cards, whatever I can. I was at, picking stuff up at Fluff, just walking around, just grabbing stuff just to ship out, because we got a lot of people who didn't come back, for the fall. And I'm like, hey, I can send you a piece of Athens, just watch and be a part of the contest. But that's been the biggest thing, online and, gift cards.
Yeah, same thing. Our online store has really been a really amazing thing this year. We didn't think that we were going to be shipping beer via USPS, but here we are shipping beer to Ohio, Virginia, DC, and Alaska, because that's where we're allowed to. So for those of you who are not in one of those 4 states/territories, buying merch off our website, we can ship that stuff anywhere. And there's been a lot of people doing that, and it's been really, really helpful and great. And, yeah.
Art, I had a specific requests from some California alums, Noah and others last week. Why can't you ship to California? Why can't you ship Jackie O's beer to California?
They need to talk to their state legislature to figure that out, because I would be glad to comply.
Well, it's that season, right? So register, vote, and make sure that your representatives will support shipping Jackie O's beer to California.
Perfect.
We had another question. I think, Aaron, this was the one you spotted, from Monique. How did you all pivot your businesses during COVID?
One thing that we ended up doing, which we put a takeout window in 5 years ago, thinking we'd do late night. We did that for about a week, and we were like, F this. We had that window that we could just, use to accommodate people without being in our space. So that was like an instant, we're going to do that. And just finding products that would make sense. We did cookie kits. Now we're doing drinks to go, because that's an option for us, and really trying to make our online presence stronger and building that up. And it's something that you try to plan for, it's always on, this is what we should do. And now all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're doing it. But that was a huge help for us.
I would add to that, if I can.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, because I have a double whammy, because I not only do the retail store, which obviously online sales help immensely, but because I do custom work, and all of our events are canceled, for people who are doing things that they need t-shirts for. It really has come to having to make cutbacks, and that's not an easy thing to have had to do, but it's what's helping us through for now. So definitely support your Athens businesses, and anyone who can sell online, and search us out if you would, please, because it really kind of makes up for those losses at least a little bit.
We put a lot of money into immediately into delivering food. I'm really glad that we also just had the window down at the tap room. Immediately ordered one for Uptown, because that definitely works. bought a lot of plexiglass and hung it in a lot of weird places, invested a lot of money also into online ordering technology as well as online reservation technology. And now as it's getting colder, we've spent a lot of money on propane powered heat situations and, you know, whatever you can do, because you're trying to keep jobs. We're trying to keep jobs, you know. It would be easier to close Uptown. It would be much more fruitful to close Uptown. But we're not going to do that because I feel like it's like giving up, and I don't want to give up to the folks who live in Athens or give up on all of us. But man, it's been rough.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
I had to do two different things. One with the store, our biggest issue was we couldn't get inventory. I mean, we were closed for a few weeks. We opened back up, we just couldn't get no inventory. It's like, we're selling car audio or, different components, car accessories, and you couldn't get nothing. So, we start pushing more of installs. If you can find it, bring it in, we install it. We hate to see money leave town, but no distributors had anything. And then we're getting back orders on electronics that we ordered back in May. And I told people when all this happened, I say, if you want electronics, buy it now because you won't be able to get it come July. And sure enough, we stocked up and it was gone. So we pushed a lot of bring your own stuff in. We do the install. And then for the DJing, a dozen weddings got canceled. So my wedding season was gone this summer. But I 100%, I did a full pivot with the season. As you can see my setup, I'm doing a lot of virtual events, streaming weddings. I streamed a wedding this past weekend. I was at the wedding with 10 people and I set up a private Zoom account, set up cameras, microphones, and basically Zoomed to 100 their guests that could not come to the wedding. Oh, wow. So they had a very private wedding of 10, I think maybe 12 people and me and a photographer and Zoom. So, I'm not going to let the entertainment business die, but yeah. And every day, it's like I said, as soon as I get done here, I'm streaming for OU. So.
That's awesome, Aaron. Hopefully that's a COVID pivot in innovation that sticks. So we don't have to, most of us don't have to go to weddings anymore. We can just dial in on Zoom. That's a win for everybody.
That Zoom was busy. I was surprised.
And then Paul, you just Venmo their account.
Right.
For the gifts.
Right. Exactly. And you could do DoorDash with the dinner, and
it's there.
It's awesome. Go ahead, Dory.
I was just saying, times are changing.
Indeed.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. We're going to take a little bit of a pivot here. I'm going to ask our panelists, if you haven't already, to check out the chat feature. You guys are getting a lot of love in there. And I know there's some questions that we weren't able to get to, but I actually would like to introduce Faith Knutson from the Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Affairs. Faith is here to tell us a little bit about the Voinovich School and how our attendees on the call today can take advantage of some of the resources and what they've got going on over there. So Faith, go ahead and take it away.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So thanks for inviting me to this panel. And first of all, I'd like to establish my Bobcat creds. So I was born and raised in Athens, and my father was a professor in the engineering school. He was a really bad professor, and he knew that he was. And so he went off and started a business. And that business is SunPower, which has been around for quite a while. It was sold. It had what they call a 40-year exit, which is not something that you want to have happen, but it did in his case. But in any case, he employed a lot of people locally. And I grew up at his dining room table, of course, and I swore that I would never be an entrepreneur. However, I did grow up to be an administrator and a bureaucrat. And as many entrepreneurs know, these are important skills. And I was so proud because I not only got a degree myself from Ohio University, but I have children at Ohio University, and my father, of course, taught for a while there, when I got my own ohio.edu email. And I did that 12 years ago when I worked for the Voinovich School. Started working for the Voinovich School, which has been collaborating with the College of Business to promote entrepreneurship, to help entrepreneurship in our Appalachian region in many, many different ways. And I think that, Dory, if you haven't yet done so, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat all of the connections, thanks. So Stacy, I can see her on the panelist as well. So I put you in there because I didn't realize that you were following me, but you get a shout out as well. So the Voinovich School is a part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that means that we have many, many programs that can help any entrepreneur. And by that, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a tech firm, whether you're a 19-year-old student who has a great idea, whether you're 9, whether you're 90. All of these individuals, whether you're a startup, a medium-sized business, a small business, can come to one of the many, many programs that both the Voinovich School and the Innovation Center and the Center for Entrepreneurship run. So what I like to say is that there's no wrong door. That if you call or connect with any of those people who are in that chat, then they can help you. And I will say that this includes everything from, for example, Global Cooling, which is a high-tech firm that sells internationally, to Serenity Grove, which is a residential program for women in recovery. And everything from high-tech for-profit to nonprofit social enterprises that have a mission and also make money. All of these can seek assistance and get no-fee assistance from the variety of programs there. So there is a alphabet soup of all of these programs, the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the Social Enterprise Ecosystem, C, the LIGHTS program, the PTAC program. And I don't want to explain all of this, and I won't. I'll just say again that there is no wrong door. If you talk to any of us, we'd be happy to open that door and introduce you to other folks who can help if we can't help. So my purpose in working for the Voinovich School, I sometimes think, is to provide the kind of assistance that my father did not have when he was an entrepreneur starting up a tech firm in 1974. He was an engineer, he had zero business skills, and he definitely needed them. Or maybe he would have had a slightly faster exit than 40 years. So very happy to have anybody ask now or seek information through those links. And I will say that if you're checking in from elsewhere other than this particular ecosystem, a lot of these programs do exist there as well. That these kind of programs are extremely popular, and in the last decade, really all over the nation, all over the globe, there's a lot of no-fee entrepreneurial services from folks who have been there, done that. So I don't know if there's any questions for me in particular, or happy to turn it over to Stacy.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions for Faith, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And while you're all plugging those in, I'll go ahead and introduce Stacy Strauss from the Innovation Center. So Stacy is going to tell us a little bit about the work that she does and the resources that are available to our attendees today as well.
Great, thank you, Dory, and thank you to the Alumni Association for putting this together. Like Paul, I've also been enjoying my Who Chooses For You. Oh, it's not really showing up. But anyway, there it is. So the Innovation Center is the building behind me there, which opened in 2003. But actually, the Innovation Center was founded way back in 1983 under Dr. Ping, and Will Conacher was the visionary behind it. So they recognized there was an opportunity to leverage the expertise at the university to create some economic development in a region that really needs it and still needs it to this day. So in its 36 or 7-year history, the Innovation Center has been very successful, assisting many of the largest employers within our 20-county region of Southeast Ohio. So Third Sun Solar, Equilibrium Solar, Diagnostic Hybrids that was acquired by Quiddell. RxQ Compounding is our new graduate. So a lot of success stories. And in addition to acting as the home for these companies, we also provide, in collaboration with the Center for Entrepreneurship and the Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Affairs, we provide a lot of cost-free workshops, basic, we've hosted startup weekends, we've had basic workshops. We'll meet with every and anyone who has an idea for a new business and help provide them with that guidance. So, what we find is so often the people that have an idea for a new business, the entrepreneurs who see a problem, come up with a solution, and have the vision and then the follow through to see it through. More often than not, like a lot of the panelists you heard from tonight, they have never taken any business classes. So that's where we come in. We have an executive coach. We partner with a lot of the resources around campus. And so we can provide some of those best practices, help them avoid pitfalls, help them break down some of the barriers on their way to launch and to scale and grow. So it's really a very rewarding job I have, and I learn every day from the entrepreneurs who we serve. And it's been fun tonight to learn from a lot of my neighbors and friends who are on the panel. And I think I know or have worked with absolutely every one of you. Mary, I used to get Ohio soccer shirts printed with you guys. And actually my first house was across from your brother, Frank. So,
oh my goodness.
A lot of great memories. Yeah. So it's just a quintessential Athens story, right? Like a lot of you relayed, it's impossible to go out to the store or to go to happy hour and not run into someone that you work with or that you have perhaps children in school with. And so for all of you alums out there, we miss you. Please don't come back right now, but please do plan on coming back very soon in the future. And if you need any help from the Innovation Center, you can contact us anytime. InnovateOhio.com is our website. And we look forward to more successes in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Stacy. And I think that really just hits the whole point home. Like this whole panel has been very, like I always say, it's very Athens, right? Very much like everyone knows everyone, is integrated in some way. And I think that's just, as an alumni myself, I can't wait till everyone can come back and visit with all of us when it's safe. So thank you all for being here tonight. I want to give a special shout out to our wonderful panelists. I'm so grateful to all of you, not just for tonight, but for all that you do for the Athens community. So thank you so much. You carry on the Ohio pride every day. You're great examples of what our alumni are doing, especially in this area. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd also like to thank Paul. Thank you so much. So I just want to give a special shout out really quickly to the Center for Entrepreneurship. In addition to all of the amazing programming they're doing for students, they also oversee the Bobcat Seed Fund. It's actually a grant program that's available to OU students who are pursuing entrepreneurial ventures. So it's a completely student-led initiative that actually helps to allocate funding for student business ideas, basically all during their time at Athens. So in just a year and a half, actually, this is like a big brag, the Bobcat Seed Fund was awarded about $15,000 in grants to 6 student entrepreneurs, and all 6 are doing super well. One of those 6 has already raised $1.4 million with more on the way. So these students are doing amazing things. It's obviously, this seed fund makes a huge impact, and you can too. So if you're actually interested in donating to the fund, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link into the chat. Sorry, give me a second to copy that. But as you can tell, like this is just one way that so many of our students are getting involved with entrepreneurship at such a young age, and it obviously pays off because we see our alumni doing amazing work as well. So in that chat, you can just go, or in that link, sorry, you can select the College of Business and search the Bobcat Seed Fund if you're interested in giving to that. And I just want to say thank you again to everyone for attending. Thank you to our panelists, our guest speakers, and to Paul. I appreciate you all so much, and have a wonderful homecoming week. Happy homecoming, everybody.